Do you hear what I hear? Do you hear what I hear? A star, it's a fish star. I don't know the words of this song. Guess it doesn't really matter. What up, Internet? What's going on? What? The camera is all wacky. Let me get over here. Let me scoot around. That was my major malfunction, and I didn't even malfunction it correctly. I broke the damn camera. There we go. Now I look normal again. There we go. What's up, everybody? It is good to be back on a Monday because it's Monday, and everybody likes Monday. Everybody loves Monday. Monday. Monday, 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 right? It's a glorious, shiny, shiny Monday day. Coronavirus is ruining everyone's day. All right, we got to get the coronavirus crap out of the way right out the gate. As you guys know, I posted on the Discord earlier today. Enter Zoo, the worldwide, gigantic, once every 2 years convention. I forgot to button my shirt, everybody. I got to button my shirt. Hold on. Oh, can you hear it? Yeah. Perfection. I like it. I don't know why I had that top button undone. I probably was sweating to the oldies outside and tried to get a little air in, you know what I'm saying? But Enter Zoo, the world famous gigantic fish convention, also other pet extravaganza stuff, canceled due to the coronavirus outbreak pandemic that is going on. And anybody out there that is not taking this very serious, you better do a quick 180 because this is a serious situation. It is not a joke. I know that our president was joking about it and saying that it was some kind of hoax or whatever, or kind of nonsense or whatever, but it is not. It is not a hoax. This is a serious situation. A lot of people are in danger, and it is just going to continue to spread. It's a very unique virus, and you know, I'm no virologist. I've told you guys time and time again, I don't have any PhDs, blah, 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 but I'm just a kind of a guy who's definitely a bookworm nerd kind of dude who's definitely getting inundated with virus stuff, which is hearkening back to the H1N1 and amongst other viruses and other things that have happened. It is kind of it's a big deal. Enter Zoo is canceled. That's the biggest fish convention I know of, other than the Chinese International Pet SIPS. What is it? SIPS? Show. I guess show. Like, they keep it simple, right? SIPS is, I think, a little bit bigger, the Chinese version, but this is the Enter Zoo is the German one. Corey from Aquarium Co-op and myself got to go to the last one 2 years ago. It is huge. Every fish person that you would really want to talk to would be there. George Farmer, Oliver Knott, Chris Lucup. Those are three names that come right to the top of my head. It's one of those things that it's a fantastic convention. It has a lot of really unique stuff to it that you don't normally see at a fish convention. For instance, to you guys out there, you actually get to see aquariums that were not only set up just for the convention, but they've been grown for the convention. It's very unique. You don't see that very often. If you do go to a convention, regardless of which one it is, it really is one of those situations that I was really looking forward to. This would have been our second time there, so I have a much better idea of what I wanted to film. You know, the first time we were there, we were kind of like, oh my God, what's going on? We really focused on trying to find some companies that wanted to collaborate on projects and stuff. Now I know that I'm not going to say that that's a huge waste of time. I think it was very important to make those contacts. It was great to have those conversations, make those contacts with people and stuff. But it basically panned out to jack squat as far as any kind of collaborative project or any of that kind of stuff. It's pretty obvious. You guys don't see, I don't. The only sponsor I have is basically my friend and my boss, who's in the chat right there, Aquarium Co-op, whom I do a lot of the building. I do a bunch of the building for Aquarium Co-op and stuff. That was basically the collaboration that came out of it that was already kind of happening anyhow, right? Not to downplay, but a lot of the businesses that are there are just to present to retailers, and that's kind of their main thing. But the whole thing I'm trying to tie together was that I was going to be able to film and do a lot, film and try and focus on that while I was there. Also, take Vicky Toria with me so that she could, check out Germany and that kind of stuff and film a lot of those things. And, we were going to focus on that, but it's definitely been canceled because of this pandemic. It's very, I think it's really starting to show a lot of the deficiencies that are happening in the United States that people aren't typically faced with on a day-to-day basis. It's fairly easy to, and I say this from personal experience, it's fairly easy to kind of just ignore these large sweeping things that happen in the U.S., living here, always lived here, always been an American. It's pretty easy to ignore the big sweeping things that are going on because we do have we have easy access to, food availability is pretty high on a regular basis. We do have shelter. We have drinking water typically, that kind of stuff. The basics are pretty well established, even though we, in my opinion, should definitely be investing in improving those systems, right, instead of just taking them for granted. But it's pretty easy as an American to just kind of ignore, oh, I heard a story that somebody got sick and passed away. Oh, there was a car crash over here. There was you get inundated with bad news, and eventually it just becomes white noise, right? It's really easy for us to ignore what what the executive branch, what the judicial branch, what the legislative branch of our governments are doing, because we don't normally see them see the effects until a long ways down the road. We're pretty much insulated from those things that are going on. And right now, the coronavirus is pretty much touching every home in the United States, and it's going to continue. I think some of the estimates out there that I think are pretty favorable are 8 weeks to 12 weeks. That seems favorable. I think some of the more realistic sources that I've been listening to, there are what's the word? They are looking at like 6 months, 8 months. So I'm going to be casually optimistic, but I am realizing that things are going to be fairly difficult I'm just planning on 6 months, 8 months. I'm planning on that, and if it just gets cut shorter, then that'd be fantastic. I want to give a big shout out to everybody who's been supporting the show. It's almost even more important right now, because I know that a lot of people are going to stop supporting the show for their personal reasons. They might be losing their job. They might be losing things that are going on. They might be out of work for a while. I don't know. But I want to give a big shout out to everybody who's been supporting the show. Let me pop over here and let me remove this. I have to remove this. Oh, no, I left this thing open. Where did it go? Here it is. Wait, no. Is that it? What's that doing? I got to remove that? Let me remove that. Well, why is this still here? What window region is this? Oh, okay. Let me find. It's the other window region that's still like this. And we remove it. There we go. There. Now that looks normal. So I want to, I got to pop over to the other computer here because then I can look up the YouTube members. So first and foremost, let me give a shout out to all the YouTube members. We've dropped down from 87, you guys. We were getting close. We're getting close to that 100 mark, but hey, 86 is awesome, and I want to say thanks to all 86 of you. And Patreon, we got to spin over to Patreon. Hopefully y'all are familiar with what Patreon is. Okay, of course, I have to log in now. Of course, we have to go to like 400 ways of authentication, which actually, that's kind of easy. We're at 240 patrons, so boom, shout out to those guys. And we also got a bunch of super chats here to kind of deal with. Frank Factor, who's a big-time supporter of the show with a $20 super chat, says, can my fish get the corona, and do I need to stock up on fish toilet paper? Be safe, everyone, and more importantly, be sane. Thanks for being a fun distraction. This is actually something I've been researching over the past week to kind of find out if coronavirus is something that could be existing in your aquarium, if it's something that would be in the water, and it does not seem to be something that would exist in water, salt water, brackish water, fresh water. It's not something that would be existing in water, though you would likely want to go through and clean any surfaces for the sake of maybe somebody else is going into your fish room or whatever, but I would not be concerned about what's in the water. It's not a virus that seems to exist in water. And most of the water districts have recently shared out a little bit. I'm not going to share a link, but you could probably look it up. A lot of the local water districts are not concerned about communication through water, but they're just concerned about the humans that work at the plants and stuff, so that's the thing that they're kind of gearing up for, is making sure that they have enough workers. So it doesn't seem to be something that can be communicated through fish tanks, but obviously if you are going to your local fish store and stuff like that, it is a concern that you definitely need to take into account. I'm not speaking about any specific fish stores, but fish stores typically have people all walks of life breezing in and out of there, and likely not being that sanitary, because they probably don't see it as, oh, this is like a restaurant or this is like whatever. But being a guy who spent many, many years running and keeping restaurants sanitary from the front of the house all the way to the back of the house, I can tell you that even though people are at even like a food establishment, they are pretty gross. They're not that respectful of being careful around the public. So if you're going to a local fish store, you definitely want to be careful and make sure that you're limiting your exposure as much as possible. You're not, getting bags from people that might be sick. You know what I'm saying? The big thing is that people are spreading it with no symptoms. That's the thing that seems to be the weirdest part of this. It's definitely getting out there because of that. And who's the guy? Idris Elba. Actually, turns out Idris Elba, he did an Instagram post today. It was one of the stories that kind of popped up on my feed. He has tested positive for coronavirus, even though he has no symptoms whatsoever. He'd just come in contact with somebody who had it, so he got tested as a preventative measure. Of course, he's in the UK, so he could just get tested. Whereas that's been one of the biggest issues in the US. There was no testing. There's no testing going on. As you guys know, I was sick about a week and a half ago and was not feeling well. Called and they wanted me to do everything over the phone because they were being inundated with so many people just walking into our places, and they couldn't even test anybody. Excuse me. And I will tell you, my allergies are kicking hard down here. We got that tree pollen right now, which I'll tell you, when I was younger, the tree pollen didn't bother me. Now I'm getting older. There's like this 2 to 4 week period where the evergreens around here start going bonkers. And I tell you, the allergies are kicking. Anyhow, they only had me call in on the phone. I went in depth over my symptoms, round and round and round, just to double check everything that was going on. And they said, no, it doesn't sound like you have that. The coronavirus, it just sounds like you have a typical thing. So, I never even got tested. So who even knows? Aquaseekin says, is Corey here to defend himself? I will say that the aquarium co-op is quite clean for a small fish store. I think the cleanest one I've ever been to, though, hands down, was in the Netherlands. That's the cleanest fish store, the fish store part. Obviously, the fish area is like, there's water on the ground and that kind of stuff, so it wasn't that. But the fish store, what is it, Cichlid Verduin, I think? I don't know. I'm 100% saying it wrong. But I did have a video up where I interviewed the owner about just kind of the history of the place and stuff. And that place was probably like one of the cleanest fish stores I've ever seen. Just overall setup plus cleanliness, everything was perfectly placed. Everything was super clean and stuff. But Aquarium Co-op is great. But also, if you are, in the country, you could actually just order from Aquarium Co-op online. Not live fish and stuff like that. But I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there that are dealing with live fish and stuff that are going to take a big hit because there's just not going to be people coming into stores. So it's going to be a little bit wonky. But fish TP, fish toilet paper, I don't know. I probably would hold off on the fish toilet paper because that doesn't seem like a thing that's real. So, but yeah, I would definitely do that. Oh, people were wondering why I was late today. I'm just noticing that. I was late because I set my camera up on a new thing. And then I came in here and I moved the monitor and it bashed into it, and then it went flying and it hit the mic stand here, and everything was just completely out of whack. So I had to take the camera off and put it back up and move it all around, and I was literally doing that. And then right at 3 o'clock, I was like, "Oh, come on, let's go!" And my broadcasting software had to update and then be revalidated because I have 100% been just changing things and running backups and moving things around on the network and blah, 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 whatever stupid, nerdy computer stuff, blah, blah, blah. But that's why I was a little bit late to get started today. It wasn't because I forgot about you all. It was just I had a physical malfunction. Yeah. It was pretty funny. I mean, if I had a security camera on me right here, it would have been good tape. The Fish Tank Barn with a $5 super chat says, "Happy Monday." Well, thank you, Mike. I did see that he was at the what's that called? Like the Big Fish deal, which did kind of shock me that they just decided to have the Big Fish deal, regardless of the CDC's recommendations and stuff. Now here in Washington, where I live, the restaurants are closed. Schools are closed for 8 weeks. Everything's kind of closing down. Everything's kind of closing. And I would imagine that it's probably going to be the country is going to be that way pretty soon. The Zen Ginger says, "Wow, 900, that's dedication. Take my money. Here's 900 pennies for your trouble." Because this is episode 900. As you guys know, I've been on the internet for way too long. And I almost always get the from like new people that come along. They're like, "How have I never found your channel?" I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not the boss of this. Oh my God, we have a new patron today. It's been ages since we've got a new Patreon. Mike has become a new patronizer today. Thank you very much, man. As I mentioned earlier, the support's going to go a million miles. We got conventions are canceled. The travel plans were canceled. I don't know what we're going to film now for the month of May. But it's going to be legitimate. Alana Suki says, "Wow, 8 weeks." Yes. Schools are closed for 8 weeks, and I think there's a lot of people out there that because of the news cycle and how everything is going, how the news cycle is news. I know that like people stayed in this last weekend, and then they were thinking that today, Monday, was like back to normal, like, oh yeah, just go back to doing whatever you're doing. And unfortunately, it's only been like 3 days. That's not even 6 weeks, 8 weeks, so it's going to be quite a long time. Zen Ginger says they limited to groups to 250 people at the point that the big fish deal was happening. I think it was smaller than that. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I understand, like, somebody made a decision and they just went with it. And I get it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I say I understand and I get it, both sides of it. I'm just shocked that they would have continued to go ahead with that event, just on the basis that the CDC was recommending that people, I don't know. It's hard to have criticism for somebody else making a decision. I get it. And I'm not trying to criticize. I'm saying I'm more shocked that they went through with it. And it probably has more to do with people not taking this quite as seriously as I think that they honestly should be. It's sort of like, well, I'm not sick. And I get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get that take. Like, I get that position where you're like, but I'm not sick. So, but I just saying that I was more shocked that they even went through with it. I think I would have, if I was in charge, I would have just said, sorry guys, it's too big of a risk on how many people it's going to get spread to that you aren't necessarily thinking about at the time, and I don't know. I wouldn't want to end up, I wouldn't want to find out that bad news if that bad news ever comes along. I guess I'll put it that way. Big D Smoke says, I'm home 95% of the day anyway. I watch at least 12 hours of TV a day. Yeah, I wonder, because who was it that said there'll be more people will be home watching more YouTube? That's a good point. It might be an opportunity for me to do some live or just some long format scaping stuff, because I have a big tank that I'm actually I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm about to rescape it. I've got most of the rock layout done. I've got most of all of the hardware racking and everything like that all laid out. I do have some stupid ideas in my head that I want to make it even fancier. But I may just make the decision to go like, it's good. Let's rock and roll and get this thing done. So I might end up doing that. You never know. I'm probably going to be staying home from work tomorrow and the next day regarding going up to the co-op, because we're currently in limbo whether or not Olivia's daycare is going to be closing down. It sounds like they're probably going to close down all daycares. If not today, probably tomorrow, or who knows. It might be overnight. We might hear about it this evening. I haven't gotten any notification from the daycare and whatnot, but I did hear about it during the presidential, what do you call that, address earlier today, whatever they call it now. The president, vice president, they were up there talking, and that was one of the things that was brought up, was like, why are daycares still open? So we shall see. I forgot to update the Patreon number. It actually went from 240 today to 241. Boom. Look at that. Goes the dynamite. I like to update it during the show. It maybe incentivizes somebody to maybe become a member if you want. Or maybe people are just entertained by me saying numbers. Excuse me. Everything Fish, Jared Byer. Smash the subscribe button. We need an update on your tank. How many do you have? I see Rob93. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Big D Smoke says everything will be shutting down soon. I mean, not everything is going to be shut down. Honestly, things that are required will still be open and stuff. I think we're going to be all right. But stuff that's kind of deemed as not necessary, is likely going to be shut down. My sister has to self-isolate because someone at her university had a positive test today. She's a few hours away. Yeah, I think that's going to be happening more and more and more. We're eventually going to get to the point where most people are going to have to isolate for a while until they can get 2 negative tests within a 24-hour period. That's the current deal. So, John Gonzalez says one person has tested positive in his little town. Getting real. Yep, that's it's spreading around like crazy. And the big issue is, yes, older and immune compromised people are going to be in extreme danger. But one of the big parts that I think people are it's a glancing blow. They're not really thinking about it, is that when the hospitals get packed and past capacity, let's say you, 35-year-old, is driving down the street and you get in a car crash, and let's say the ambulance guys come and get you, but you need, you have like a cut artery and you need to get surgery on that, and there's nowhere for you to go in the hospital, what's going to happen? That's the real thing, is that like all the people that we save on a daily basis could be in danger because the whole hospital would be full and there's nobody there. Plus all the doctors and everybody else is getting sick and having to miss time. So this could be overwhelming. And we don't really have any backups, you know what I'm saying? Oh, my cup's stuck. Oh no. How does this work? I had a cup full of hot coffee, and it was stuck to the table. Oh, I spilt. And the coffee made it stuck. Yeah. Woo. Woo. That's some fresh coffee. Oh, I made a pot. Woo. I made a pot of coffee right before, and that's strong. That's strong. I bet if you put a spoon in that, it would stand straight up. It's some gangster coffee right there. All About DIY says Joel is the only person on YouTube that I give money to every month. It's a must. Thanks, man. I like I said, 100% appreciate it. We're sort of shoestring budget around here, and we're gonna keep rocking and rolling. Like I said, May is gonna be kind of crazy, trying to figure out what to do to kind of fill all that filming and stuff that we were gonna do. But as you guys know, kind of a master of figuring out unnecessary projects to do, so I'm probably just going to start doing some of those off of my list that are kind of further down the line. I think it should be fine. And, if I do get stuck here in a quarantine, I will tell you guys I will just be making as many videos as humanly possible. Well, I wouldn't say humanly possible. I'd say humanly for me possible. Aqua Seeking coming in with a YouTube subscription. Thank you. That is awesome. It's great to see the YouTube subscribers coming in with the hitting the join button. I know it's one of those things. It's like it's $5 a month, unless you're at one of the higher tiers, which you could if you want. You don't have to. It's not required. YouTube just kept telling me that like I was supposed to add tiers, and so I finally did, as kind of just like get off my back YouTube situation. And and so they're there, and we happen to have one person on the enthusiast tier, and shout out to your boy out there on the enthusiast tier. You know who you is. Much love to my boy out there. My boy. Oh, you got a shout out. I'm just gonna whisper it in here. It's Robert. Shout out to Robert, my guy. Reaver says, "Hey, at least gardening season is coming soon." Yes, we started prepping our seeds and stuff this last weekend and realized, oh crap, it's gonna freeze this week again. And I think I mentioned it last week. I have this giant concrete project going on outside. And now I'm concerned whether or not I'm going to be able to get a truck out here to pour the cement now that everybody's going to be on quarantine. My guess is most cement guys, most rock yard guys, would just be like, "Screw it, we'll come out. We're bringing cement." So we'll see what happens. But at the very least, I got to get the front done because I got all these like boards on my form board and rebar out there, and it just looks It's abysmal. I gotta hopefully get the front done. And by the way, to those of you out there, if I have to order bags, cement, and do it that, I will. This Ginger says secretly hope Joel has to quarantine, but that nobody gets sick. It's a good point. It's a good point. I wasn't really thinking of it that way, but I can see how you could. I can see how you would want that. I can see how somebody may or may not want that. Why did I get all like? Oh, I switched over to this scene here, and then I got all like bright looking. There we go. I gotta tone me down there a little bit. I don't know, but nobody told me I was looking all red. Whoa, there, fixed it. There's a couple of clicks of the button. You know what I'm talking about? You got to click the button. Yeah. Any media recommendations for an aquaponics project? Ooh, Andrew, that is. Well, there's a standard one. Let me check. I have one in my Amazon store. And by the way, if you guys buy stuff through Amazon, then that's supporting the show too, because I get paid and FTC says I have to tell you. So I'm telling you, shout out. I will get a link here in a second because I have to go to my Amazon store and find it. Where's my list? Oh, there it is. Where's my store? I have to like find my own store front. Hold on. That's not it. Manage my storefront. There it is. I'm pretty good at this internet stuff, guys. You know about it? How do you know about that? You got to find my Amazon store. There we go. I'm almost 100% certain I have one in here. Oh crap! I don't think I do. I'm wrong. It's not in here. It's not on my Amazon store. I suck. I'm the worst. Oh man. Well, I totally misspoke, and I will tell you that I was wrong, and I apologize for being wrong. But let me see. It must be in one of the other lists. Let's see. I bet you it might be in this list over here. As you guys know, I try to do my best to update Amazon stuff as much as possible. It's just basically something I probably spend 20 minutes on a day, maybe 15 minutes a day, something like that, just to go through and verify what the heck is going on this. And it's getting pretty extensive, so it's just not quite enough time to really get to making sure everything is good. There it is! All right. This is the Grow It clay pebbles. I've used these many times, but I'm looking at the current pricing, and that might be a little bit squirrely. Is that right? Hold on. So 10. Da, 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 da. See, that's not good. That's not good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. There's a Mother Earth brand, right? That's a Hydroton, right? And Hydroton is what you're looking for, okay? So, Hydroton, and make sure I hit all the right. Okay. Half the keys on this keyboard are like hotkeys that make things happen on the computer, so it's the worst for typing on. I type on that computer over there when I have to type things out. Like if people message me, I literally am like. I edit on this computer, though, because this is the computer that has the processing power. And then there's another. Yeah, don't worry. Sorry. I don't mean to get distracted by talking about computers. But here's the link that'll take you straight to Amazon if you are looking for it. So this is a 40-liter bag. It's a decently sized bag. But what you want to do when you're working on your aquaponics tray, so you want to measure height, width, length, right? Then convert that into volume, and you can figure out exactly how much you're going to need. This one is, where I'm at right now, it might be too expensive. You know what I'm saying? In your neck of the woods. But here, it's about right, because I'm seeing that it's about $50 with free delivery, which is always good, right? So there's the link right there. This brand, grow it with the apostrophe. It's weird branding, but I've definitely used it many times. I have like a couple of 5-gallon buckets of this out there for an hydroponic project that I'm going to be doing someday whenever I have time to do it. Like I said, I'm working on this giant concrete project out there. So whenever that happens, I'll definitely make videos about it, but it's probably coming up in this garden season. In this garden season, it's probably going to be coming out because supposedly we'll see what happens with coronavirus, all the stuff that's happening right now. On the slate is to get the concrete done. Then I'm going to start doing the footers and posts for our greenhouse. We're going to be building a new greenhouse this year. Instead of moving to a new property, we're actually just going to kind of finish our projects that we had lined up for this year. We're just going to do that. Obviously, the coronavirus is going to kind of screw up things. It's going to change housing prices, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be doing that, and I'll be doing the aquaponics project in there. I did have to figure out some of the groundwater drainage stuff that was going on from last year, and I've got that amended now. So we'll be able to go ahead and hopefully do the greenhouse this year, as Vicky and I have been saving for that. So we're probably just going to go through with that project. And to those of you that are big fans of fish tanks, I tried to work out a deal to get some new 120-gallon tanks here, and it was going to be way too much money, even with the discount with the company. The company offered me a discount, and it was just way too much money to try and get some of the new tanks. So that's just going out the window for right now, because the first company I dealt with was weird. The second company I dealt with was weird. The third company I dealt with was just too expensive. So, and that was, by the way, True View Aquariums. If you guys are looking for an acrylic aquarium, those guys are awesome, super cool. They'll work with you. They'll work with you for sure. Their website actually is really accessible, super easy. And I noticed free shipping on a lot of stuff, but they were going to charge me shipping, which I thought was odd. But either way, it was going to be way too much money to get like those new tanks in and stuff. So I'm most likely just going to continue with my plan to rebuild the current systems that I have. So, and also doing fish tank tours, touring people's fish rooms and stuff. That's going to be kind of off the board here for a while, because the last thing I want to do is, either bring, if I have something and I don't know it, or go to somebody else's house and bring it back here and get people sick here, So that's going to be kind of off the table for a while, unless I can figure out some way to do it. But I haven't been able to figure that out yet. We got a $10 super chat from Danikin Aquatics. Thank you very much. As you guys know, I'm banking on some of that Danikin Aquatics footage now, because that's gonna be content that's probably gonna take the place of InnerZoo content. Realistically, it'll probably come out way before that, but it's definitely going to be taking the place of that. So thank you very much for contributing to the show. I always tried to find a nice way to say thank you, and I either sound like I'm being weird or like overly thanking people. I don't know. I don't know where the happy middle ground is. Mickey M. Hopefully I got your name right. Over here in Europe, Sweden, Denmark, Norway are showing okay stats about new cases versus prognosis. South of Europe have worse stats, unfortunately. Strategy plus personal discipline looks like a good thing. That's pretty much what it's going to have to be. I think the unfortunate thing is that a lot of people are going to catch it, but we just need to. The idea is to extend that over time so that we can get people treatment properly and not have just this wave, a tsunami of people, clogging up anybody's healthcare system. It really doesn't matter whose healthcare system is just not ready for everybody to come all at the same time. Nobody's is. Does not matter. Excuse me. With 4 kids, it's always a challenge to keep up with them with work and their activities. That's right, Reaver. 100%. 1 kid's hard to keep up with. I don't know how people would keep up with 4 kids. I'd probably stroke out and fall over and just be like, I don't know, guys. I gotta go lay down over here in the dirt for a while. See you guys. So, I mean, I wouldn't know what to do with 4 kids, and I don't even know how I would be personally be able to get through 4 births. Okay, as a dad, I don't know if I could handle the stress of 4 babies being born and me somehow having to be responsible for that situation. I mean, Olivia went well, but it was also like 22 hours or 20 hours or something crazy like that because we got in there in the morning, and she wasn't born until like 4:30 in the 4. She was actually born at 4:20, so. To all you potheads out there, all you weed smokers, I'm sober, so that's me. That's my life. I'm a sober guy, 2,100 days or something. I don't even remember what it is now. I'd have to go look it up. I'm getting to the point where that's just my life, and I'm into it, so it's just what I do. But to all you weed guys, she was born 4/20. Zen Ginger said, oh, my God, he coughed. Yes, I have been coughing for quite a while. The allergy season is among us big time. Let's see. Donald's Fish Vibe says, Joel, do you have any tips for the Amazon puffer? I have 2 in a small tank, and they have great appetite. However, I want to offer the best scenario. Feed them. That's going to be the best advice. Clean water. Keep their water clean. Do water changes. And feed them. Feeding them is going to be the thing. So bloodworms, snails, right? A variety of snails, for sure. You're gonna want, ram's horn snails, pond snails, Malaysian trumpet snails. Mine eats Malaysian trumpet snails when it got bigger. When they're small, not so much. But, variety of foods, and it's all going to pretty much have to be live food. I haven't gotten them to eat anything that was flakes or pellets or anything like that. But frozen shrimp are really effective because you buy frozen shrimp for humans with the shell on, and you can just chop it up into little tiny bits and feed those little tiny bits, and you can really get a lot of protein into that freshwater. Into a freshwater puffer like that, you can definitely get them to eat quite a bit, and you get a great volume. It's economical. You get a lot of volume food for not a whole ton of money. You realistically could buy a pound of shrimp for $7 or something like that. Pound of frozen shrimp at your almost every local grocery store, and my guess they probably don't have toilet paper, but they probably have frozen shrimp. So. Might be worth a little trip down to the grocery store, but, just don't lick any door handles or do anything like that. I will say the time that I have been to the grocery store recently, they have people like wiping down door handles, sanitizing stuff, sanitizing shopping carts, doing a lot of stuff to help kind of keep things in check. So, does it matter? Hopefully. Big D Smokes says he quit cigs 14 years ago. All I do, yeah. If you're smoking, quit smoking. Just cut it out. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying I quit. I chew this nicotine gum. It's not bad. But I did the vape thing for like a year. But I quit doing that too because I realized I think that the health benefit of going from cigarettes to vaping is phenomenal. You're doing a lot better. But it's not zero. Like vaping isn't zero, So if you kind of make up your mind to quit vaping, then I switched over to the gum, and then I chew some of the gum every once in a while, and that's pretty good. let's see here. Am I caught up with the chat? I think I'm kind of caught up with the chat. Let me scroll way back in here and see what's going on. So we were talking about the big fish deal earlier. My guess, with Interzoo, Interzoo is postponing, is what they said. So right now it's canceled, but they're probably going to try to move it to another date. It being such a big event, chances are they'll be able to kind of look through a calendar and figure out their spot. I think it will be in the same place. This is so big, I don't think there's very many facilities that it could be in. So I would imagine that it's probably going to be in the same place, but it might be, I don't know, it might be later in the year, but they might just move it to next year. I don't know. That's kind of my guess. As far as the American conventions go, I have no idea. My guess would be the small ones are probably just going to cancel. Maybe the bigger ones might be able to relocate to another time. I know that I noticed a lot of people were talking about, what's that? What's that called? What's that fish? What is it? Let me see. Somebody mentioned it in the chat, so it's what inspired me, and then I forgot it. Oh yeah, okay, I just remembered it. So let's see. Let's see. So when is that? That's going to be like the biggest deal. Aquashella is in May 15th. So my guess, there's no way that they could have Aquashella because Interzoo was May 22nd. So Interzoo is going to be a week after Aquashella in Dallas. So my guess is that would be either canceled or postponed or something. But I don't have anything to do. I have nothing to do with that coordinators or anything. I have nothing to do with that convention. I'm simply commenting on the timeline. So I'm saying that a big convention that I was going to go to in Europe was postponed and not going to be happening. So my guess would be the American one is likely not going to be able to happen because it's March 15th right now, or March 16th right now. If it's 8 weeks from now. I really don't think there's a possibility that they could have a convention in 8 weeks. I really don't. Tax and license customer service area temporarily closed. Oh, wow. So the city of Tacoma is following guidance from the Centers of Disease Control. The city recognizes a stressful time for many and want to continue to reassure that your health, as well as your employees and communities, to protect the health and safety of our staff and customers, and to help lessen the impact. The tax and license office will temporarily close beginning Tuesday, March 17th. The tax and license office is closing. And obviously I'm getting that because I have my business license for my little business. Okay. So man, I never would have expected them to close, but they are closing. The tax and business license office just announced that they're closing tomorrow. Today's the last day. They'll be closed tomorrow. So, yeah. I really don't think that any of the American conventions at this point, I don't know other ones if people want me to look it up and see what's going on, but there's no way that Aquashella in Texas is going to happen unless they just decide to have it and see if but 8 weeks is just not, like I said, the schools are closed here for 8 weeks. I think starting today at a lot of places, Like, so in this state, and Texas is basically behind Washington, because Washington, where I live, is basically like the epicenter of this whole thing beginning in a way. Like, it was the first place where somebody was tested. It's the first place where people were getting tested and people were exposed. I don't know. So my guess is people are exposed as much in every other state, but this state was kind of the first to figure it out that somebody was here, you know. Mickey M says 4 days ago we had 200 new cases, today 92. I hope the stats are correct. If so, hygienic discipline is basic positive result. Yeah, I would say that you know, Sweden is probably a little bit different than America, just under the fact that it's so small. I forget what it is. So Copenhagen to what's the Swedish city I was looking up? Let's see. Swedish city. I don't know. Let's see if we just look up Swedish city and it'll probably come up. Stockholm. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So Copenhagen to Stockholm. So Copenhagen, Denmark to Stockholm, Sweden is, if I was to drive from my house to Spokane, Washington, which is within the same state that I live in. So geographically speaking, I think Sweden has more of a look to it, right, than, say, the United States. It has more of a look to it that like a small state in the United States, right? So it would, honestly, the idea is that because of small groups, it's easier to kind of maintain the, you know, the kind of, what is it? Maintain like legitimate rule, like, you know, you're like, what is it? Maintain guidelines. There we go. Maintain legitimate guidelines. It would be much easier to do that with a smaller area, smaller group of people. Plus, you know, I think most people in Sweden have a lot of social programs that are going to kind of back them up. And I know a lot of people in the United States are like, they have to be at work tomorrow. They have to be at work tomorrow. They have to be at work tomorrow. Desert Fishkeeper says, think the IRS will shut down. I heard something about tax day being put off. As far as I know, there's a monumental delay right now in the IRS returns. I know people that have already filed got a notification that their return might be delayed by up to 60 or 90 days, which is kind of weird, why the return would be delayed, but maybe the humans are looking them over now. That wasn't really the case before, but I don't know. Jared Beyer says California is giving automatic extensions at least 60 days to affected individuals and businesses. Don't think we have the exact word yet on what the IRS is doing. And Jared works at a tax software company. So, yeah, I know that people got notifications that they're being delayed in their returns, but I don't know if that really has anything to do with I mean, mad respect to Lucas Bretz. I love you. I love seeing you in the chat. It's great to see you. But the conspiracy theory that there's testing their hand on population control is complete and utter horse shit. And, yeah, whatever, man. It's not. Everyone thinks everything's a conspiracy after the fact. And it's super easy to be an opportunist and go, yeah, this is a conspiracy. It's not. It just isn't. I mean, there's much more effective ways if you wanted to go about it than doing this, you know, than doing this with air quotes. It's not. But if you want to talk about conspiracies on your channel, feel free. Yeah. Anyhow. Let's see. We got a super chat from Sam Malone. Says, awesome effing channel. You've been MIA. Yeah, it's good to see you, Sam. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Let's see. A lot of the airlines will go broke before then. Yeah, I heard there's a airline bailout today. So they're trying to bail out. They're trying to bail out. They're going to bail out the airline industry already. I already saw it today. LRB says, it's not a theory. The world is a stage and you're watching it play. Oh, yeah, man. I don't know. If you want to Alex Jones or whatever it is that you want to do, like I said, I love you, Lucas. You're a great guy. This isn't the platform for conspiracy theories. Sorry. It just isn't. And to somehow assume that a virus that happens, viruses happen all of the time. They're constantly changing and doing what they're doing. And, yeah, you know, it's cool, man. I guess have your opinions on conspiracy theories on your channel. So I love you, man. Love you like a brother, but it's just not what it is. Mikey Fishy says, go get your silver toothpaste from Alex Jones. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of people out there selling all sorts of nonsense, and the reality is we already know the basics of taking good care of yourself. So drink water. You know, you want to stay hydrated. You want to eat a healthy diet, varied healthy diet, and general hygiene, and just make good decisions. That's basically what you can do. What you could, what is this? Oh, okay. Just got a notification that something got finished. A project got finished, which is good. We like finished projects. Bailouts are from extorted tax stolen from our energies. Yeah, I mean, if you really want to get into the conspiracy, I mean, the conspiracy is that we have a monumental government that is operating at a giant scale, and if there's a conspiracy, it's a conspiracy to weaponize weapons. Basically, we're making and building weapons at a monumental rate, and you just look at it. You just go look at it. It's not a conspiracy. It's easy to go like. After the H1N1 outbreak, every conspiracy theorist thought that it was like, you know, it's man-made, it's man-engineered. It's the same as, you know, people talk about chemtrails and geoengineering and all this nonsense. And, you know, like I said, if you want to go talk about that on your channel, feel free to do it. But the conspiracy is just large corporations extracting from people, and it's not a conspiracy. You just go look at what's going on, you know? Mike Bloomberg, people were wondering why Bloomberg spent so much money on his presidential campaign. It's simple. It's advertising money. It's all tax deductible for him. So it's a giant tax deduction, and it gets his name and his business out there. You know, Ross Perot did it. It's not new. It's not a new thing. It's the same old stuff. Let's see here. Let's talk about something fish related. Michael Sarr had to get some groceries. Slim pickings. What did I miss? It did. I will say that the grocery situation out there was slim pickings, but from every person that's in the know of kind of the food chain, the food supply chain that I know, you're just going to be missing a couple of things. Realistically, things like rice is going to be something that is not necessarily the easiest thing to come by, because, you know, it does take a lot of processing. It takes a lot of stuff to grow rice, process it, dry it, ship it, husk it, all that kind of stuff, and get it out there. It's just a reality. There's just a couple of things, but other than that, you're going to be pretty regular, pretty reasonable. But something I do constantly talk about is food security on the individual the individual level as much as you can. So aquaponics, hydroponics, small gardens, most of the things that you can do that are pretty easy to do. Like, for instance, like the raspberry bushes I have outside, anybody that has a pot on their porch, so you probably need something like a 5-gallon pot. You could plant raspberries in that. If you have a yard outside, you can go dig up some of that grass and plant a whole row of. You can go plant a whole row of raspberries outside. Really no maintenance and a lot of return at the end of the year. So you can go out, pick it all, freeze it, and have raspberries, all year round with just really like not that much work. Certain things do take processing and is kind of difficult. But berries are one that I definitely recommend everybody to get. Blackberries, raspberries. Blueberries, obviously, are a little more care-driven, but maybe you're a huge fan of blueberries like I am. We actually have 5 blueberry bushes here. Pretty easy to take care of. Composting is fairly simple. Amending with our used coffee grounds and stuff like that is all pretty simple to do. And it's really kind of low maintenance, no maintenance type stuff. So let it go. Let it grow and help out and just start to learn about some of your food security that you could be doing on your own personal level. You don't necessarily have to have chickens and all that kind of stuff like I do. We just pulled out, I don't know how many eggs we pulled out this morning. I think, gosh, I'd have to look it up. Actually, you know what? I don't want to be wrong. So let me look this up. How many, because Vicky posted a picture about it. So I can actually look her up. Is that not working? Hold on. There. I can find her. I know it. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Pulled out 24 eggs this morning from the chickens. So it realistically is something that most everybody can do, is have some chickens is something that you could do. Right now is the time of year where you could actually go get chicks. You want to look for your local farm supply store, look up what kind of chickens you want to have, how much space you have and stuff like that, and figure out exactly, what kind of eggs that you want. I think the next chickens that we're probably going to get once we have to harvest some of these, they're getting kind of old. Like, we have a bunch of chickens that probably aren't laying right now. But you talk about 24 eggs in a week and a half. I mean, that's technically enough protein to definitely amend people's meals. Even a family like ours, let's see. That's like between 2 and 3 eggs a day, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if you amend that with some legumes and some berries and something like rice or whatever, you can definitely stretch food for quite a long time, and we're actually still producing food and not necessarily only purchasing food. Fish Tank Barn says some knucklehead on one of our aquarium's fish book groups was looking to trade his aquarium equipment for hunting equipment. I would recommend people to get into hunting, but if you were to get into hunting, you're going to have to find a local club, go take some firearm safety classes. It's definitely important. Firearm safety classes, and find some people that can teach you how to hunt. So you're not out there just shooting your gun like a maniac in the woods and just scaring everybody and possibly putting other people or animals in danger. If you are not proficient at firearms, typically what's going to happen is somebody's going to go out there, even if you do find an animal, they're going to take a terrible shot, you're going to wound an animal, and you're likely not even going to get to harvest the animal, because you're probably going to wound the animal, it's going to run off, and you're not even going to be able to find it, and it's just going to slowly die out in the woods. And that, my friends, do not do that. 100% do not do that. Do not just go out in the woods I highly recommend people learning how to hunt. If you are somebody who eats meat and things like that, yes, it is definitely something that you should do. you should definitely get involved in, understand where your food's coming from. It's very important, and I encourage that. But do not just go into it blind and think, oh, I can just go out there and I'm find myself a whatever, and I'm going to get it. It's just find some people that can help you learn what it is that you're trying to learn and how to do it correctly. I don't know how many times I hear people end up going out there and things just going 100% wrong. And that the last thing I want to hear about is somebody, just injuring an animal. Like you got to do it as humane as possible. And if you don't know how to field dress an animal, don't even go out in the woods with a gun. Because get out of here. What are you going to do once you've done something? Learning to hunt is not, I don't know. It's more involved than most people think. Aquarium Co-op says, if you have to spend more time at home in the next few weeks, what's on your fish room to-do list? I'm actually shooting a video right now on setting up sumps. I have a new sump that it's not a new sump. It's an old sump that I'm resetting up. So I'm getting all the shots accumulated for that, the film shots, the film footage together, and explaining more about how to set up a freshwater sump as opposed to a saltwater sump, because a lot of times we have to take saltwater. When it comes to sumps, a lot of times you have to take a saltwater sump and convert it into a freshwater one, because there's not really a great freshwater solution that I have found. If somebody has found one, post it in any of the comments on any of my videos or whatever. I will probably see it, and it will give me a chance to take a look at what it is that you found. I have not found very many freshwater versions. There are 2 that I know of that are okay-ish, but yeah. Moonstone reminds, yes, and packing it out. That's right. Packing out, 400 pounds of deer, it's going to take you an exceedingly long time. And if you're not ready to do that, you're probably going to have a heart attack or hurt your legs or hurt your back or hurt something. You're going to roll an ankle and get stuck out there. I don't know how many times I see every year somebody goes out and they roll their ankle or something, and then they get stuck in the woods for a week, and I'm like, oh my God, you have no contingency plan, or they didn't bring their 10 essentials with them. Like how, and then you talk to them later, and it's like, didn't you bring your 10 essentials? And they look at you like, what? I don't know. Was I supposed to bring what? I don't know. Which reminds me, Big D Smoke, send me a message on Patreon. To remind me to get in cahoots with you, because I have a proposal to make. But yeah, let's see. And then other projects I have in the fish room. I do have some plants coming in that I'll be adding in soon. I'm still trying to figure out with the 24-inch tank that I have. It's a 24 by 24 by 24 cube tank that used to be my reef. That's now a freshwater. I think I posted the setup of it. Yeah, I put a video on the setup of the hardscape and stuff, explaining that. Now we'll be adding plants to it. We added I added a CO2 reactor to it, posted a video on that, so you guys can check it out. So now it's going to be plants and planting that, and I'm trying to figure out if the Fluval reef lights will work for freshwater, because I basically have the Fluval reef lights for that tank, and I don't have any other lights for that tank. So those are the ones that I'm using right now to see if they will work. I have just the white and the red channels turned on, and by the way, so far not great, but also not bad. So I'm cautiously optimistic about whether or not that's going to work out. I also have a nano tank, which I was going to get a beta from Aquarium Co-op. Not sure that's going to work out. I'm not sure. Oh, sorry. It's not that I'm not sure that's going to work out. I'm not sure how that's going to work out now. Because my plan was to just go up and get one from Aquarium Co-op on one of my work days, but I don't know if I'm I don't know. I have to meet with Vicky, and I'll text Corey and stuff, and we'll figure out what's going on with tomorrow and Wednesday. But Dreaded Fishkeeper says freedom of speech is, my friend, is an amazing thing. Yes, we do, and I also have the freedom of speech. Also, Fish Tank Barn says it's everywhere. I work in a building with 15,000 people in it every day. We are WFH. I bet a lot of people have been exposed. The X-Files TV show was a conspiracy to convince people that there are more conspiracies than actually exist. All right, that's a good joke. I like that. But yeah. Fish Tank Barn. I grew up in the sticks with plenty of hunters. My best friend's dad would shoot and butcher all of his own deer. Yeah, I appreciate that. Also, one of the strange things that's happening is that viruses are being passed around through deer and stuff. So like wasting disease and whatnot. Of course, deer ticks, Lyme disease, all that kind of stuff is getting passed around these days. So, one of the bigger parts that we're noticing is that as far as the conspiracy theory, it's not so much that it's a global stage, it's that we live on a globe with everybody living on it. Travel is pretty simple nowadays. It takes about 12 hours to travel from my house to the other side of the planet, which is rapidly fast. Things are moving around quickly, and things move around fast. And we're also noticing that from deer. A lot of the deer viruses and things like that are getting passed around. A lot of that has to do with automotive travel, interstates, and all that kind of stuff. One of the things that they were finding is that someone would go out, hunt for a deer, butcher it, and bring it back, 200 miles away, which to us in a car is not really that big of a deal, But there's really no way that a deer is going to travel, 200 miles in a day to pass something around that's communicable to other deer. It just wasn't something that was going to happen at the time. And often, even if they were trying to travel that real long distance or whatever, they'll probably run into a predator on the way, not knowing the terrain and things like that. So, we noticed with adding wolves back into Yellowstone, all of a sudden the river started moving. And why is that? Because the wolves started moving the deer around. The deer stopped eating certain, small trees, shrubs, grasses, blah, blah, blah. Obviously it's more complex than me just yammering about it really quickly, but it actually started moving the rivers into different directions because all of a sudden the eroded areas weren't as eroded. Plants grew up taller, and now the river had to go this way. So it's kind of funny, like even just adding a predator to the area is something that would change the geography. Obviously it's pretty basic geography. It's not really moving a mountain around or anything like that, but we're noticing that the world is more connected than we ever thought before. Johan's here, says, hey everyone. Out there in Holland, almost a total lockup. Daycare is closed now. That's kind of what I'm thinking is that's going to happen, is that daycare is going to close very, very soon. In my neck of the woods, it hasn't closed yet. Last I talked to them, they said there wasn't any plans on closing, but we just have to pay attention, and they will communicate that with everybody. But I did hear about it on the presidential address today that they were talking about that. Good point here in the chat. Where did it go? I lost it. There was a good point. How many? We have to, hit the like button. I'm supposed to say that because it's YouTube, and the people forget to hit the like button, and then we don't have enough likes, and there's 92 watching and only 60 likes. I don't know. 60 likes seems fine to me, but hey, hit the like button, everybody. Blah, right? So I said it to appease the YouTube overlords, right? I probably got demonetized today anyhow because I've been talking about all sorts of nonsense that is probably going to freak out the algorithm and demonetize the show. So, hey, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I appreciate you hitting he's at least hitting the like button. Why not? It's free. It's a free thing. Let's see, Moonstone, interesting about the transmission of deer viruses. Yeah, it's really one of those strange things that I don't think people, I think it's really easy these days for people to just go off of face value that like, oh, here's the thing going on. I immediately think that, oh, this is my explanation for it. Boom. That's it. That's all. I'm not saying that I have never done that, because I certainly have done that. And that's one of the reasons that I could say that as an example is like, I've seen other people do it and I've accidentally done it myself, where it's like, oh, well, there's a thing and blah, I'm just going to kind of say my thing about it, without like a whole lot of research. And sometimes after researching something for a long period of time and gathering information and finding different sources of what's going on, can generally come up with a different solution, right? Check it out. I got another coffee mug here. Yeah, school is definitely closed. School has been closed, but daycare has been open still. Johan says, I'm always listening now because I'm still home recovering, which I personally can relate to. Johan still recovering. He had a pneumothorax plus complications, which is the same thing that I had, pneumothorax, which is a collapsed lung, and then I had all sorts of complicated, crazy infections and all that stuff that went along with it, and it was brutal, and it took me a long time to recover. I lost a serious portion of my my body weight and stuff. Where did my thing go over here? I lost my thing. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah. Push buttons. Yeah. Okay. Where are we at? Joseph Stanley says, hey, all. But did he hit the like button? That's really the question. That's the question, right? My throat is getting hoarse. Like a horse in the hospital. Oh, my gosh. How long have we been on here? An hour and a half. Oh, man. We're getting to the point where we could probably wind it down here a little bit. Virgil Garwood says, remarkable amount of illness is inert to humans until it ends up in the water, then carried by human, consumed by animals. I'm confused by that statement. It's worded a little bit odd. Remarkable amount of illness is inert to humans until it ends up in the water, then carried by human-consumed animals. Oh. Yes. Cook your meats properly. You want to bring your internal temperature of your meats up to the proper temperature. And even, well, I think as long as you come up to the proper cooking temperature, you'll be fine. Reaver says all schools in Ontario for 3 weeks, March break plus 2 weeks at least. Yeah, like I said, it's 8 weeks here that the kids are not going to be in school, so I'm not 100% sure what this is going to look like for Victoria and myself, but sounds like I've got some family help back up that will likely come in to help, but we'll see, I can't necessarily just say, like, yeah, that's what's going to happen, Johan's plants are doing better and better because the CO2 is kicking in. Yep. That is one thing. I often get the question is like, is CO2 really going to be that big of a deal? And it's like, yeah, bro. It's going to be a big, big, big deal. Alyssa Bentley, it's going to be a big deal. CO2 is going to provide the free carbon that plants need to facilitate the photosynthetic process that they're taking energy from the light, they're converting it to simple carbohydrates, sugars, easy, right, to relate. Then they're going to take that carbon, combine it with some other element, whatever molecule that they're doing to build whatever it is that they're trying to build. They take those components and build a plant and grow. They'll release the O2 back into the world, right? That's why we call plants like a carbon sink, because they're going to take all that carbon and be a plant with all that carbon for a long time. The unfortunate downside is when that plant dies, that carbon is going to go back. But it's the circle of life, my guy. All right. We're pretty much coming up on the end of the show because my throat is getting hoarse, and I don't know why. So I'm going to probably just stop drinking coffee here for a while and just have some water. But I want to give a big time shout out to the super chatters of the day. And what do our analytics say? What was our peak concurrence? I don't know. 100 or something? Yeah, we had 100 people watching. Whatever. 99. It's close. Frank Factor, Fish Tank Barn, Zen Ginger, Danikin Aquatics, and Sam Malone, all of our super chatters of the day. And Aqua Seekin, our one member of the day. And Mike, I don't want to say your last name in case, sometimes people want to stay incognito. But Mike, our one patron of the day. Thank you very much, you guys, for supporting the show. I'm going to get out of here, go drink some water, and figure out what the heck is going on with the daughter of mine, this little one right here, that little tiny one, that tiny baby, the tiny daughter that is Vicky and I's daughter, right? That one? This one.